need to kiss it, kiss it. If you need to kick it, kick it. If you need to scream it, scream it. But kiss it, kick it, scream it now. If you need to leave it, leave it. If you need to love it, love it. If you need to hold it, hold it. But leave it, love it, hold it now. If you need to squeeze it, squeeze it. If you need to spill it, spill it. If you need to tell the world you got more to you than the world has as of yet allowed you to be, then be it. Spill it. Squeeze it out of each instantaneous moment. Make the juice, the jive, the jazz, the jism, the mysticism that isn't you. Grab at the moon and hold the stars hot inside your head. Because now is all there ever was and all there ever will be. So kiss it, kick it, scream it now.
The slam started at the Green Mill Jazz Club in Chicago. The slam pappy, they call me, the slam grandpa, they call me. One of the things that struck me when I came out of the construction worker mode into the poetry scene was the falseness of a lot of the work, because it had nothing to do with what everyday people do. As the audience member, you were supposed to listen reverently to the poet. What happened different at the slam is we gave the audience the permission to respond to the poet negatively if they wanted to.
Albuquerque hosted the National Poetry Slam. So basically what happens is across the country all year long, there are people writing their work and going into venues and performing it. And those performances are judged, and each community selects a team that they then send to a national event every year.
A lot of the times what we write about is how we see the world through our eyes. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the media framed image or what they want you to believe is going on.
Thinking about it like slam poetry, and I think it's really important because there's a lot of disillusionment, and there's a lot of people sort of turning off from the issues. They've gone, well, it doesn't seem like anything we're doing is working, and people get this impression that, especially the youth of today, have stopped listening, and they've stopped paying attention to the big issues. And I feel like whenever I go to a poetry slam, I'm like, oh wait, there are people listening. There are people who have things to say about the government, about political issues, about issues in their family. You know, all of that is very important, and it reminds me that people are still paying attention.
6 million ways to die.
And I chose to get married. And not that I hate my mate.
I love my wife
because marriage is for life.
It's just that sometimes life's a bitch.
I know he did not just call me.
I said life's a bitch and then you're dying.
Every now and then I feel as if I'm dying a slow death. Because love seems to be the misunderstanding between two fools. Because like two fools, we argue over foolishness.
Like we don't argue about the money.
Because we ain't got none.
We argue over foolishness like
the dishes. And we don't argue about who's going to do the dishes.
And we don't argue about when who's going to do the dishes. We
argue about how to do the dishes.
And today, like every other day,
we argue.
But today is different because for a change, y'all, I'm actually right. And I'm talking about that deep down up in your soul type of writing.
So tonight, we're going to argue, fuss, and fight.
Because I refuse to lose.
And I'm not giving in.
Testing that ridiculous rule that everyone gives you when you first get married about not going to bed with unresolved issues. So rather than sleeping, we verbally
toss and turn all night.
And right about the point that she accusing me of dozing off while she's talking,
our infant son Jonathan awakens.
And she's like,
go get him.
No, you go get him. I went and got him last night.
And now we're arguing about who's going to go get Jonathan.
And she's way more mad than before. So I just get up and get dressed for work. And I'm at my desk and I'm working. No, I'm dozing. Only to be interrupted by a phone call from her to remind me that we're still arguing. And like most men at this point, I ain't even sure what we're arguing about. I just know I ain't supposed to lose, and I'm weary and I'm worn.
But I'm ready to rumble. Got this fight inside my mind.
Only to get home and find that she picked up dinner on the way home from work.
So we're eating off paper plates, playing Scrabble, having the best date we've had in a long time.
And then it hits me.
Opposites attract.
And that she's the yin inside my yang.
And if there are 5,999,999 other ways for me to die, this is the one way I choose to do it.
Slam, here's how it works. Poets, you have 3 minutes to perform one original poem of your own construction. No props are allowed, no costumes are allowed, no animal acts are allowed. No musical accompaniment other than the music you can create with your own body will be allowed. Each poem will be scored on a scale of 0.0 to 10.0 by our panel of 5 judges who have been selected from the audience. Judges, please consider the content and the performance of the poems. The only really important thing is that you tell us what you think. Poetry Slam is about the idea that everybody has a valid opinion about art, and you don't need some degree or credential to prove it. Be honest, and don't be influenced by the audience or the other judges. Audience, your job here is to try to influence the judges. If you think the poem or the score is great, let us know. If you think the poem or the score sucks, let us know. All right.
This is a rewrite of a poem I wrote over in that corner a couple of weeks ago. Been working on it. I can't dance, I tell her as I try to free my fist from the grip of this painfully beautiful woman pulling me toward the throbbing horde on the house party dance floor. I can't dance. And she purrs, sure you can. It's easy. And I say, well, of course it's easy for you, but you could be choking on a chicken bone and giving yourself the Heimlich on the edge of a chair, and Paula Abdul will be like, God damn, that girl's got some moves. But me, I hit the dance floor and epileptics come up to me and say, brother, I know how that feels. I can't dance. What little I know about dancing, I learned from Ali Sheedy in the Breakfast Club. I can't dance. If I fucked like I dance, I would never get laid. Oh my God, I do fuck like I dance. That's why I never get laid. But I don't tell her this. I just say I can't dance. And she fixes her feline gaze upon me like Smurfette in a Victoria's Secret catalog spread. And in my mind, I hear her whisper, just watch me. And I am powerless to do anything but watch this goddess in the form of an English lit major in jeans so skin tight they are no longer fabric, they are flesh. They are a big blue tattoo with a pulse and a waistline cut so low you can almost see the baby faces of her knees peek over her belt loops. She winks at me and wades backward into the frothy tide of bobbing college kids and begins rump shaking this wickedly gyrating Humpty Hump 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 dance that defies the laws of physics, her body thrashing like a South American river full of starving piranha, tearing apart an unsuspecting cow to the feet of P. Diddy and Missy Elliott. Her blur of an ass is twitching so frantically, yet so precisely. She must have robotic pistons in her hips as she slips the pointy tip of her tongue to her lips. If you take drumsticks to her undulating midriff, she'd do deadly drum rolls on the forehead of every boy on the dance floor. God damn. She's cleaving rhythmically through the booty jungle like a flesh machete. And I haven't blinked once. And she's eyeballing me, mouthing the words, come dance with me, as she runs her palms along the curves of her body and quivers like a fleshy jackhammer, like a jello mold Madonna, like a field of dragonflies fluttering their wings at once. She's setting up sympathetic vibrations inside me like sitar strings, and my body succumbs to the rhythm, my feet shuffling, my knees bucking, my hips bumping. Then she breaks away from the crowd and walks towards me, her eyes looking all the way through me and into my beating heart that wants nothing more than for once to dance with abandon. And she reaches her slender hand to me in super slow-mo as the other dancers drip and run and fade from sight. And I take her hand and I whisper, I can't dance, but tonight I'm gonna try.
Maybe these moments that you've seen are just about somebody's ego, but hopefully what you've seen is about you as much as is about the poets. We're here as artists, as any artist, to give you the gifts given to us. I hope so.